So now on this one, it says the function f approximately represents the trajectory of an airplane in an air show, where x is the horizontal distance of the flight in kilometers. What's the symmetry of the function? So in the last example, we talked about the line of symmetry and how it cuts the graph in half. We need to figure out where it's symmetric, right? We need to figure out where this crosses in the middle, all right? So we're going to graph this. So everybody grab your graphing calculators, turn them on. I know some of you are still writing some stuff down, so I'll give you some time before I start using the graphing calculator. Make sure that you write down the equation. Do I want you to write all this in your notes? Yeah, because you kind of need to know what we're doing, right? You definitely need to write down the formula. So let me clarify. I need you to write down the formula for sure. And then I need you to write down the question. Because 3 days from now, when you take a test and I let you use your notes on that test, you need to understand what you did, what the answer is. If you just have a bunch of numbers, it might not be as helpful. The numbers come from us trying to find the symmetry of this, okay? And I definitely want everybody to have that calculator in their hand because this is a very big equation and the graph is going to be big. So we're going to have to zoom in and out on the calculator so you can see the graph on the calculator, okay? So I see that some people are still writing. And then I'm going to, maybe some of you guys are trying to graph it already, but I'll give you a second there. And so what we're going to do on our graphing calculator, we're going to, and let me put this view up too. Go to y equals like this, and then clear out whatever you have in there, okay? And then I'm just going to enter the formula as I see it. So I'm going to say 88. Remember, the X button is here. And when you square stuff, see this button that my mouse is hovering over? See this right here? That'll automatically square your X for you. It only does the 2, okay? It only does the 2. You can't put anything to the third power. Then we're going to say minus 264. I got to hit the X button again. Plus 300. Now just hold up. Don't hit the graph button yet. Make sure you have this entered in. If you have a question, you can't get it entered in, raise your hand and I'll help you real quick. Now here's the thing. This number is going to be huge. And by default, your graph only goes from -10 to 10 in both the X and Y direction. So when you hit graph, you won't see the graph. It'll look like this. See this little thing spinning around right here? That means your calculator's, when that yellow thing goes away, your calculator has graphed this, but there's nothing on the screen. It's a big number. So what you're going to do is see this button right here where it says zoom? See where it says zoom? Click on zoom. And you should get this menu on your screen. Did you get that menu yet? Let's do like a thumbs up if you're where I'm at. Thumbs up if you're where I'm at. Okay, good. What I want to do, there's one that says zoom fit. So if you use your cursor and go all the way down, I think it's 0. Yeah. So now if I hit enter, it'll make it fit. But the shortcut is 0. So Mr. Adams, as a math teacher, I've kind of memorized the shortcuts. So it doesn't matter. If you hit enter, what it does is it readjusts the graph to fit where the vertex is, okay? So the vertex is down here somewhere, right? Yes. Yeah, you bring it here real quick. You probably entered the equation. You probably got like a little error in how you entered the equation. Well, yeah. Sometimes you guys turn the plots on too. Yeah, that's what it is. So if you hit second, plot, see how that says on? You're going to turn that off. I think it's when we clean the calculators with sanitizer. Oops. When we clean the sanitizers, there you go. Now you can put the equation in. Sometimes we hit the buttons and it turns them on. All right. So now there's one last thing that we could do. I want to see where this is. I'm not quite happy because I can't see the bottom part of that. So click on this button right here to the left of that zoom button. It says window. Click on window. And these are the parameters that they put in there. Now the Y minimum is at 102. So in other words, the very bottom of the graph is 102. I want to see a little bit below that. It just makes me feel better. So go down to Y minimum, hit clear, and put 90. Put 90. And I really want to focus on the vertex. So go back up to the X minimum and clear that and put -5. Now for the X maximum, I'm just going to put 5. So the X minimum is -5. The X maximum is +5. My Y minimum is 90. And my Y max is pretty high. Okay. Now hit graph. And so what I've done is I've really zoomed in on that. But I've noticed that I still can't see this the way that I want to. So I'm going to go back to window. And I'm going to change this Y min to 80. And I'm going to change the Y max. I don't think it needs to be. In fact, if you look, the purple line only goes about halfway up the screen. So I'm going to change my Y max to about 5,000 now. I don't think I need that big of a window. So what I'm doing is I'm changing what I'm zooming in on because I only want to focus on that. So let's hit enter. And now I'm going to hit graph again. Okay. So maybe what I want to do is I want to get a pretty good view of the graph. So I'm going to hit zoom. I'm going to hit this window one more time. And I'm just going to put Y min at 0. Okay. And then I'm going to hit graph. Now I'm doing this on purpose because I want you guys to get familiar with how to use the calculator. There you go. Now I can see there's a little bit of space underneath my graph. And that's what I wanted. So now, one last thing I want to show you guys. Click on window again. Or actually, no, click on zoom. And see how the first option is Z box, zoom box. This is probably what you guys would want to use. If you click on one, it gives you this little cursor thing. So I'm going to move my cursor way over here. I know where the vertex is, so I'm going to kind of get close to the vertex. Now what I can do is draw a box, and it'll zoom in on just that box. So if I hit enter once, and then I move down like this, and move over, it's like drawing a box around just that portion. So now now when I hit enter, it's going to zoom in on what I just drew my box around. See that? So I'm zooming in on the vertex. Is everybody at where I'm at? Thumbs up if you kind of have something similar on your screen. Okay, so our goal is to find the vertex. This is 1, this is 2. It looks like it might be at 1.5. So what I'm going to do is see right here, the button that says trace. See that above it where it says calculate or calc? Hit the blue button that says second, and then hit trace, because what you're really hitting is the calculate menu. Now it says value 0, minimum, maximum. That's the bottom of a valley. Is that a minimum or a maximum? Who thinks it's a maximum? Raise your hand. Who thinks it's a minimum? Raise your hand. Good. It's a minimum. So I'm going to go down to minimum and I'm going to choose select. And I'll give you guys time to do that. On your screen, you'll see a thing that says left bound. You're going to want to move your cursor a little bit over to the left of where you think the vertex is. It doesn't matter, it just has to be to the left of it. You're going to hit enter. Then it says right boundary. So I'm going to move a little bit to the right using the right cursor past where the vertex is. I'm going to hit enter. Then it says guess. For this process, I'm going to try to get as close as I can to where I think the vertex is. I'm going to hit enter. The calculator does some math and it says 1.4999999. What is that number really? If we round it up, it's 1.5. So my axis, we did all of that work to find that the axis of symmetry, which passes through the vertex of this equation, is at 1.5. So let's write that in our notes because that's a lot of stuff to process at once. X equals 1.5 is the axis of symmetry. And remember, it represents kilometers, okay? And then in parentheses, put because the vertex is 1.5, comma 102. Okay, so this is the vertex, the minimum. Now, the reason the calculator put 1.4999, it's approximating, it's using math, right? It's using an approximation technique to figure out what that is. But it really occurs at 1.5. And then the line of symmetry, x equals 1.5, is just a vertical line that passes through the vertex. Okay? Any questions on that one? That one took a long time, but I really want you guys to understand how to use the calculators. And don't worry if you're a little, like if you're not 100% on the calculator or you got lost on one of the steps, we'll go over it again and again and again. Trust me.